I always loved to dance from a very small child. I loved music, and I loved dancing to my parents' gramophone record player in their living room. I was taken to ballet classes from the age of 4, and it was kind of the only classes that seemed to be available in our area, so that's what I did, and it's what a lot of little girls did. So that was my outlet, if you like, for going and dancing with other children, with teachers, and learning some steps and how to get it right. But what I loved most of all was to have this little tiny record player that I had lots of little 45 RPM records to play on, and I'd kept that in my bedroom, and that's where I danced the most, and that's where I danced more freely, and in my own private little world, if you like. It was very important to me. I suppose that was a gradual thing as time went on. I just always danced, and it wasn't until I was really in my late 20s that I started to understand a little bit more about the healing potential of dance, and that I had a very strong connection to the spirit world through it, which I kind of knew as a child but didn't really understand it. So as I started to learn more spiritual techniques, more shamanic techniques, I realised there was a whole other world opening up in front of me that I could understand, that were part of my dreams, that were part of the nature, the beautiful countryside that I lived in. And I just learned how freeing it was for me to dance with that and with myself, and to bring my emotions and my feelings into that dance. And then in my 30s I found the dance practice of 5 rhythms, which was the work of Gabrielle Roth. And I started to attend classes in that work, just an evening once a week, and I started to find out a lot more about the traditions of ecstatic dance. She taught us a particular way of moving, which for me was wonderful at the time. It was very healing, very grounding, gave me an element of discipline to my dance, and meant that I could dance with other people. I fell in love with this practice absolutely and completely, and adored her. So I went to train with her in New York and in California, where I became a teacher, an accredited teacher for the 5 rhythms practice. I worked a lot, or mostly at the time, with Yakov and Susanna Darling-Khan, and they became my teachers in the UK. They're the ones that I followed more, because partly at the time because they lived closer to me, it was easier to work with them, but also they had a very particular way of teaching, Yakov mainly because of his shamanic teachings, that really seemed to resonate with me. And so I, as part of my 5 rhythms teaching, I also became very involved with assisting him on a lot of workshops and attending a lot of his retreats. So over time, when their work changed from 5 rhythms to movement medicine, School of Movement Medicine, I began to follow that more intimately, and realising that was the chosen work for me. Within all of that, I created my own business, my own name, and my own workings, which is alchemy and movement, dance, movement, meditation, and have, over the 10 years of being a teacher, 10, 12 years, in fact I think now, of being a teacher, I've developed the way that has come through me, through my childhood, through all the challenges that I've had in my life, and the ways that I've learned to adapt myself and heal my own life's path and journey, to use dance within that. And that is what I have brought together to share with other people. So it's what I would call my own medicine, is my offering now to assist others in their spiritual, emotional growth, and being in the world and reaching their own potential. through the dance.
How does dance facilitate healing in your experience?
From my own experience, what I would find was that when I danced, I would begin to feel certain emotions. And that is because when the body starts to release itself, we begin to feel more deeply. Quite often in our lives, we have this tendency to, when we feel something, we don't express it necessarily in the moment, because it may not be safe to do so, or we may feel inhibited about it, or we may just not be in the right environment at the time, or we're even taught by our parents, peers, teachers to hold in emotion. We've all heard the saying, you're a big boy now, don't cry, or you're a big girl now, don't cry, or it's not okay to be angry, all that sort of stuff. And so we hold in a lot of our emotions, and they become fixed within the body, in our posture, in different parts of the body. And so when we start to move, we begin to release those emotions. We begin to feel more deeply. Our heart opens, and wherever we've locked away these emotions, they start to free themselves, and they start to move through the body, and we find ourselves really opening our hearts, really experiencing some quite intense emotions, some just very small, not a big deal, but we may find ourselves wanting to cry or wanting to stomp our feet and get a bit angry. We may feel huge amounts of grief or fear, maybe terrified of something, or these are all opportunities to release this energy that's trapped inside us, and to move on, to expand ourselves, and to stretch a little more further into the world, if you like, so that we're not restricted by our emotions. And the more of these emotions that we hold on to, the more our bodies start to sort of hold ourselves inwards, if you like. We're not able to expand. We're not able to really express ourselves to our fullest, because there's this huge backlog of emotional debris, And so I really encourage people to, when they move, as gently as they need to just start to release that. And the feelings afterwards are just gorgeous. You really can invite in a huge amount of light within your body once you've let go of the dark, of the shadow, of what's not really needed there anymore.
Do you think that people are a little bit suspicious of spirituality, are more likely to experience an emotional shift through dance because it's something they're more familiar with, like the body is real?
I think people are suspicious of spirituality or shamanic, anything like that, and I think there's every reason to be. We've been made huge promises